Hello, this is Naudi Aguilar, and today I'm going to show you guys an effective way to create your own posture brace. Hello, this is Naudi Aguilar at Functional Patterns, and for today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to create your own posture brace. You see posture braces all over the internet. Most of them encompass passive approaches towards correcting posture, meaning that these braces that you put on that pull your posture back do the work for you. The one I'm going to show you guys today is actually going to teach you how to correct your own posture via the engagement of your own muscles. What we're actually going to facilitate is more compression via the usage of these bands, for that way for you to actually engage away from those bands, and this is effectively going to get you a better posture by switching on the muscles of your brain instead of turning things off the way that the other posture braces do this. So very simply, all you're going to need are two bands. And you can find these on Amazon. These are Sirius steel bands. You can find them. They're about, I think they were about 15 bucks each, and they will last you a very, very long time. And I've been using them for like about the last 2-3 years, and they've proven to be a very effective tool for me. So I'm going to actually have my brother over here come up, and I'm going to show you guys how you can use this tool on your own. You guys saw about a couple weeks back, I showed you guys how to actually use these bands as a feedback system. We're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to add one more band to what we did before with regard to exercising the posterior oblique sling. Before we were focusing on a rotation. This time we're going to be staying in the sagittal plane to address this kyphosis and this hyperextension of the pelvis. And you know what? I'll go into a brief explanation of that. Most of the time when you find people and their poor postural patterns, you're going to tend to find that they have this anterior pelvic shift and this kyphosis. This is a very prevalent posture in our culture today, and usually that forward head is going to come along for the ride, and what we're going to be focusing on is trying to get rid of all those dysfunctions in one shot with this posture brace. So essentially what we want him to do is eventually get to about right there. For right now, that's going to work pretty well. There's other dysfunctions that I could list off, but right now that looks pretty good to me. But now we're going to try and turn this into a more intrinsic attribute with my brother here. So what I'm going to do is actually bring this band and pull it across his body. And I'll have you, actually Joey, I'll have you actually take over and do this. You guys will see, go ahead and face them from there. You're gonna wrap it around your shoulder once, and then you're gonna step in with your opposite leg. Now what this is gonna do is create a feedback. It's gonna rotate his spine to his left and his pelvis a little bit to the right. What he's then going to do is double this up so we get ourselves outside of the transverse plane of motion. Now we're gonna wrap it to the front side. Now you're gonna pull it around the other way. And he's almost going to look a little bit like a superhero here, and because you see all these lines coming across his body. But what this is now going to do is create a passive mechanism to create a poor posture. So as he has a bad posture here, what's he going to do? Fight against that resistance and eventually line himself up with a better posture. So now, as this is putting that pressure downward, go ahead and flex, let the thing kind of just flex your spine. Now we're exacerbating the dysfunction. You see the distension of the abdomen here. You'll see the rounding that's going to end up coming out of it. Just try relaxing as much as you can. This is emphasizing the poor postural habits. What I want him to do now is just retract his abdomen, open the rib cage, and now what you're going to begin to see is that he is going to have to battle against all these things. You'll see this band right here is actually going to push his lumbar spine forward. So go ahead and relax here, Joey. This is actually going to drive his lumbar spine forward. For those of you that have the anterior pelvic shift, this will promote a transverse abdominis engagement because he has to push the spine posteriorly with the engagement of his transverse abdominis. So by just putting this band on right here, essentially what we're going to promote is a posterior pelvic shift intrinsically. We're going to promote a thoracic extension intrinsically because his pelvis is shifted posteriorly, and we're going to get that retraction of the scapula that everybody seems to be wanting to look for when it comes to their postural training and with their just in general with their exercising. Everybody's aiming to hit this neutral spine. This tool, go ahead and give him a face them from there. This tool right here essentially is as wacky as it kind of looks. This is actually going to be something that will eventually lead you towards having a good posture, and most importantly, it's going to lead you towards having an intrinsically good posture, because as he begins to try and fight these bands, the muscles are going to engage, and once we get this off, we'll take all these things off from here, Joey. It will be much easier to hold this naturally. So when you're walking throughout the day, this will not be a challenge. I could have him put those things on, go out for a run for a while until he finally, so he kind of gets that feedback while he's running, and he can hold an even better, an upright posture while he's holding this, which with those passive braces that people are wearing, those aren't things you're going to be able to move around with too well, just simply because they're always pinning your shoulders back. We don't want the tool to do the engagement for us. We want our body to do the engagement for us. And if our body does the engagement, we're going to tend to be much more benefited through these techniques in the real world. Muscles need to change the structure, the position of the bones. You shouldn't have a brace changing the positions of the bones on your body if you expect to function well in this life with your movement. Until next time, this is Naudi Aguilar at Functional Patterns, reminding you to train intentionally, not habitually. Take care.